Today, I am interviewing Jenny Douglas, and here she is. And we've been having a little chat about kind of seeing each other in passing and wanting to actually talk to each other, but just haven't really taken the opportunity. So this has been really good to be able to do that. And we've been talking through some questions for this interview, and it sounds like Jenny's had quite an interesting story since the beginning of lockdown. So my question, or my the thing that I'm going to put to you is, Jenny, so tell us about your lockdown story.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are we on, week 6 now? Yeah. So, when it all kind of kicked off, I guess like a couple of weeks before it kicked off, which I think I'll use as a starting point, I was having a few days away. I booked myself a little trip away into the Lammermuir Hills in a little gorgeous little cottage. Obviously things were happening around the world and it was, really horrific, but lockdown was still, we hadn't started talking about lockdown. So I was off on this lovely little adventure with lots of ideas about what I would then do creatively. Had quite a fantastic experience of just being out in the wilds on my own. And then, come back, ideas start flowing, made a couple of new prints and we're really, really happy with them. And then lockdown happens. And I did what lots of people do, or did, I think, is like school themselves into exercise. So like I was doing super levels of like fitness every day. I was just going exercise mad. And I'm pretty active anyway, but I think the first week I kind of overdid it. Like I know I did. I was doing like 3 things a day. Like I was doing yoga, a cycle, and a run, or an online HIIT class, and and it was just too much. So my body just kind of went, no, this is too much. And I basically damaged some part of my neck, some nerves in my neck, and was just completely immobilized. Like completely just stopped me in my tracks. So it's been a really strange 6 weeks because it's been pretty much a continuous process of being injured, trying to start the healing process, and just be aware of all the stuff that's happening outside, and thinking about like having huge amounts of guilt about the business, and like not being able to be reactive. So like thinking like, okay, I should be changing my model, I should be focusing on really doing up the website and going for this, and I just couldn't. And I had to just literally kind of stop, change all of those ideas, and just lie in my bed. For the first kind of 2-3 weeks I was just bedridden, kind of watching, oh, here's my cat. Like watching the news, or listening to the news, or checking my phone hundreds of times a day, just being super anxious and frustrated. And then I started to get used to it, and then I kind of started to enjoy the fact that I was still, and I started to care less about lists not being fulfilled. Jobs around the house weren't being done, and things didn't come crashing down around me. I just kind of learned to go with it. And it's been a really interesting few weeks, really, from that point of view of what happens when we have to slow down. And actually I've learned a lot about what you can gain from not doing very much in a day, and it's been really, really interesting. My brain has gone from being quite fuzzy and from healing from injury to this. I've got this like new sense of energy now, where I'm thinking, oh, I'm starting to see colours again, and I'm kind of filled with this like nice little buzz of things that I could do. And the colour wheel little design for the earrings literally just came to me in a flash on the day that I kind of released it on social media. I just kept seeing these little like colour wheels, and oh, sorry, my cat's really friendly.
Okay, it's pretty.
Oh my god.
It's really funny.
He's so Fluffy.
Close.
Look at him. So yeah, just like learning to focus on one thing, and even if it's a really small thing, has been, personally speaking, kind of what I've got out of this weird sort of situation. And really appreciating slowing down and not trying to do too much, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has been a really interesting few weeks, and I think I'll probably start to like ramp up and be doing too much again too soon before too long. But it's actually been quite a positive few weeks. That doesn't sound too glib. You're so aware of what's going on, but actually at the same time it kind of feels okay to give yourself permission to just chill and take time for yourself and for other people, and try and speaking to your family, like helping people out. Like I did a little fundraiser for the local food bank, and that just I felt really nice to be able to do something like from your living room.
Yeah.
And yeah, just appreciating the small things, like having fresh fruit and vegetables in your house, and growing lots of seeds and plants.
Yeah, I know, because I've seen your Instagram and I saw that you were propagating plants, and I thought, oh my, that seems like such a really wonderful thing to do right now, because so I love my plants. I like having plants, and I keep thinking, oh, that'd be so nice if only I had time to do that. And I think, like you said, almost being forced to stop can sometimes be something of a blessing, in that it's like life giving you permission to just stop what you're doing, just stop everything, and rest, and because you need to get your energy recharged somehow. And if you're charging around all the time, and I know what you mean about like, oh, I need to look at my website, I need to make sure that I'm keeping things fresh and uploading stuff, and it's sort of like, I don't know about you, but I wake up some mornings going, there's so much to do.
Oh my god, every morning. Yeah, but I don't know about you. I think I feel less like that every morning now. I definitely, I can feel like my old brain, which was just like a motor running really, really fast. And the first thing I would think of in the morning would be something that I should do that day. Not like, oh, what a beautiful morning it is. Maybe I'll go for a walk. It was like, oh my god, there's these things that I have to do, and these customers are waiting on these things, and pressure of like, I don't know, making things look as though they're running smoothly, right? Because that's something we all do, and it's like I kind of care about that stuff a bit less now.
Yeah,
which is got to be good.
Yeah, and I think people are just a lot more laid back about things now, and I know, it's just finding, maybe shifting priorities, and kind of going, does a lot of this other stuff, peripheral stuff, does it really matter as much as the core?
No, definitely.
And so can you do you want to share with us any ideas that you've had during this time, or an idea or a plan or a direction or something you're working on, or whatever, or nothing? It's fun.
It's there are so many things that I want to do right now. It's one of the things that I'm sure every artist, designer, creative person has, is this like relentless narrative or like picture book in your head of ideas. And maybe I'm lucky that I have that, but it's actually figuring out what not to do as much as what to do, right? So at the moment, what I'm actually trying to do is just simplify and distill a lot of ideas that I had pre-lockdown, when I was going on this amazing adventure through this weird 6 weeks of healing and really not doing much at all. And I think I'm quite an intuitive, kind of instinctive person, so I like to rely on how things really feel rather than overthinking. And my gut feeling is that actually I need to just spend some time simplifying. And I think what that might leads to is possibly a new direction in how things look in my work. I have got a couple of ideas for like a sort of a new type of printmaking that I'm not going to like go into too much at the moment, because it doesn't actually exist yet. It's just in my head.
Cool.
But also because, you know, I don't want to put pressure on myself to like then do something that people are expecting an output. At the moment, it's just a fun idea I have for doing things a slightly different way with equipment that's maybe not traditionally used for printmaking. And I think, you know, I'm thinking very sort of, I guess, line-based work has always been a theme of mine, but maybe more linear than colour, and maybe experimenting with a bit more of the landscape and the nature around me. But I kind of at the moment, I feel like I haven't really got into it yet, but that I'm at the start of something.
Yay.
Do you know that feeling where you know you're like about to do something and it might be a bit different, but you don't actually know what it is yet?
Yeah, I do. I've kind of started going off in a different direction with my own work. And it's a direction I wanted to go in for years. And I've just not given myself the time to do it, because I'm like, well, I'll continue doing this other thing because it seems to be received better, or just, you know, it's bread and butter. But now it's been great because I've started venturing down this other path that I've been wanting to go on. And I'm not quite there with it yet, but I know what you mean about like being on the edge, and it's a bit exciting, and it's like, I'm about to go on a creative adventure.
Yeah. But it's like at the same time, the last 6 weeks with being kind of the slowing down process, it's like there's a voice inside me saying, don't go there too soon. Like my normal reaction would be, oh my god, let's rush into this, let's really get into this new thing. And now I'm kind of feeling like, no, I think I'm going to hold back, and that feels like the right thing to do at the moment. And it's a really interesting mix of excitement and, I guess, like enjoying being a bit patient, which I am not. I'm terrible at being impatient. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. I'm kind of enjoying it.
Excellent. And so one other question I wanted to ask, and I'm going to ask this to everybody who I interview, because I think it's useful to others as well. But so we had been talking about, you know, having some amazing, fantastic days, and then the next day could just be complete washout, horrible disaster, whatever. And so what is it that you do to turn your day around? So is there one thing that you can go to that you know will be at least one small pick-me-up? It might not transform your mood entirely, but it's just the thing to help kind of start to push it back.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I've had lots of those days, and I think, you know, you were saying you have too. Like it's hard when you're in that point of having a really crap day and you feel like it's almost impossible to get out of it. But when I've been able to, I think movement is the thing that always helps me. So, and I'm not talking about going for a run, just physically moving my body and taking myself from one space to another space can work wonders. And it sounds like such a small thing, but I think just changing what you see for a little while can have a huge effect on you. So standing in a window with light coming through it is always one of the things that I do, is like walk to somewhere light.
Yeah.
And I have to force myself to do it, and there's a voice in my head saying, this isn't going to work, why are you doing this? So it's like a case of kind of just forcing myself to go to somewhere light and colourful, but also on a sensory level, like spending time with my cat and my dog, like doing something that is out with me, and it's, you know, you're suddenly aware of this unconditional love that they give you. And so I think, you know, yeah, a combination of those things, and they don't always work, but they make me feel like I'm doing something.
Yeah, and that's so right about the change in perspective. It's just like, because again, you can feel so caught in this moment and you almost can't see your way out. But I like your idea of going, just look out the window or change the room that you're in.
Yeah,
just to kind of like switch things around up there.
Yeah, just visually switch things up. And even if you just look up to the sky, I think there's something about looking up that changes the way your brain works. I'm sure there are people out there that know a lot bit more about this than me, but it's quite stimulating and it can be quite, I don't know, quite shifting. But yeah, other days it's just like have a vegan brownie and a really strong cup of coffee.
Yes, I know.
Just depends.
Well, Jenni, thank you so much. That was so lovely, and it's been really nice getting to know you. And I look forward to seeing what you do next and just following your story. So thank you very much for today.
Thank you for having me. It's been lovely to talk to you.
It's been great. Thanks.
Cheers.